So in the 2021 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic will have the 5th pick. And this is a pretty big deal since the Orlando Magic have just recently fully gone into the rebuilding direction when they traded their star player Nikola Vucevic and traded their second best player in Evan Fournier and traded Aaron Gordon all this trade deadline. So if they could land someone with the 5th pick that could maybe be a franchise cornerstone or a guy who could be a big piece of the rebuild, it would honestly be great for them. But in the past, they have had some very, and I mean very terrible drafting choices. But nonetheless, in today's video, I'll be talking about the 3 most likely prospects that I think the Magic will select in this year's draft. Just talk about how they would fit in Orlando and talking about them as players. Before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want weekly NBA content to help me reach my goal of 1,500 subscribers. Comment this video to start a conversation with me as I do respond to all of my comments, and play that intro. The first prospect that I think the Orlando Magic should potentially pick with their 5th overall selection is Jalen Suggs of Gonzaga. Suggs is a 6'4" point guard who plays the game very well. He's a very tough guard who will bring a lot of leadership to this team. Suggs has elite athleticism and he has a great feel for attacking the basket. He has a very good ability when it comes to handling the ball, and when you add that in with his athleticism, it's just really scary. He often blows by defenders, and Suggs is also one of the best passers in this draft. He honestly might be the best passer because he's always looking for his teammates. He might even be a pass first point guard at times. I don't know if he's like a generational passer or anything like that, but he definitely is a good one. He has an assortment of moves when it comes to finishing at the rim due to his athleticism, and he has the ability to actually use finesse when he's finishing as well. He's a very good rebounder for his height as he always attacks the glass. Suggs has the ability to play the shooting guard position due to how well he moves off the ball. Despite him only being 6'4", Suggs is a very good help defender due to his IQ and his ability to react and read the defense. Defensively, he can play either guard spot due to his effort, athleticism, and his IQ. He's also very good at steering the ball and forcing turnovers. To voice some of his weaknesses, it's the fact that he's a very inconsistent shooter from the 3-point line and from the free throw line. He has pretty good form, so it's not unrealistic to see him turn into a good shooter in the NBA. Another problem of his is that he turns the ball over a lot, and on defense, sometimes he loses sight of his man. You might have heard it somewhere, I think an NBA player said it or something like that, but they said Suggs wasn't a really aggressive player because especially in the March Madness tournament, it seemed like Suggs got really passive and was deferring to other players who might have not even been better than him. But honestly, I think Suggs could be a guy who Orlando realistically selects due to the fact that the Magic are so devoid of talent that they can't even choose for a fit at all. And I think Suggs could be a really good point guard or shooting guard for this team going into the future, depending on how good Cole Anthony is. But Suggs seems like a leadership type of guy, and maybe he won't necessarily be your franchise star or franchise cornerstone or something like that, or a guy's going to lead you to the playoffs or anything like that, but he could potentially be a really good heart and soul of the team, a very good starter, and maybe even an NBA all-star in his career. And with the 5th pick, I don't think that's a bad selection. I don't think Suggs has the superstar potential of guys like Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, or even Evan Mobley, and I doubt he's going to be a bust in the NBA due to just how he plays, and maybe the Magic just want to invest in that. So I think there's a pretty high chance that Suggs goes to the Magic. The second prospect I think the Orlando Magic could potentially select with their 5th overall pick is Jonothan Kuminga. Kuminga is a 6'7", 220-pound forward who's a physical beast. He has freakish athleticism, strength, and body control. He really stands out on the defensive side of the floor as he uses his length, strength, and quickness to affect other forwards. He's also a guy who you could put on the opposing team's best perimeter scorer, and he could do a good job. But he's not just a good defender. On the offensive side of the floor, he has pretty good handles for his size, and he can create his own shot at a pretty good level. He's also very good at attacking the rim due to his athleticism, and he's also a pretty decent passer, and he finishes well in transition. He's also a decent shooter, and he's good at attacking mismatches in the post and things like that. But to point out some of his weaknesses is the fact that he's a very inconsistent 3-point shooter. You could actually argue he's not even a good one since he did shoot 24% from 3 in the season. He also apparently needs to work on his post moves more and stop relying on just his athleticism and length. He also has the ability to make really good passes, but sometimes he struggles with decision making and not turning the ball over. So Kuminga clearly looks like a really good prospect, and a lot of people compare him to Jaylen Brown when he was coming into the league, and if I'm being honest, I could actually see that comparison. But to be honest, I think he would be a really good fit on the Magic because, as I said, they're not in the position to skip on any prospects for fit or anything like that, and I think he would do excellent on this team. I think he has a bit more superstar potential than a guy like Jalen Suggs, but I think he has a little bit more bust potential than a guy like Jalen Suggs, so we'll have to see with them. But I'll definitely think the Magic should consider drafting him due to the fact that I think he has potential to be an all-star, and I think he has like the chance to be one of the steals from this draft. And I think there's a pretty decent chance he could like turn out to be a guy who's like the cornerstone of a franchise. You never know. Also, even though Orlando shouldn't be caring about fit in this draft class, they literally have no small forwards who should be playing over Kuminga, so I think he can easily come in and immediately start. If we're being honest, any prospect they select is probably going to start immediately unless they draft a center or something, but I doubt they're going to do that, so that's just a plus. The third potential prospect that I think the Orlando Magic could possibly select is Keon Johnson from Tennessee State. Johnson is a 6'5", 186-pound guard who's a freakish athlete. I believe he had the highest vertical jump in NBA draft history or something like that, so he's definitely very athletic. He's a high-level defender with amazing reflexes, and he also has great lateral quickness and speed to stay in front of defenders. He also attacks the rim very well and puts defenders in position where they can't block him. They have to either foul him or just let him score. He has a great feel for just the angles and stuff like that. He has pretty solid handles that help him get around the defense, and in transition, he's always one to make highlight plays. But to talk about some of his weaknesses, it's the fact that he's not really a good shooter, as he shot 27% from 3 in his time at college. He also only averaged 11 points in college because of a terrible start, which is an amazing sign. He also apparently isn't the most gifted scorer, since a lot of times when he really needs a basket, he resorts to a post up, and that's not the worst thing, but he is a 6'5" skinny guard, and the NBA it probably isn't as easy to do that than it was in college, so that like you would hope that's not the case. He also apparently has the tendency to over dribble into the teeth of defense and throw up a bad shot or make a bad pass. He also turns the ball over a lot due to his loose handles, and when it comes to the help defense and things like being like a help defender, he's not a plus defender in that area. If I'm being honest, I don't think the Magic will select Keon Johnson simply because he doesn't seem like a guy who's gonna be like a superstar or an all-star. He doesn't seem like he has that potential really. He seems like a guy who's gonna be a really good role player or a really good starter. And yeah, not everyone has to be a starter. Not everyone has to be a superstar or a star or anything like that. But with the 5th pick, I would hope you're selecting someone who at least has the potential to do that. And I see Keon Johnson more as a guy who's going to be a good maybe 3-and-D guy who's like really good on defense. I don't think he has star potential, but I could even argue that some prospects who I would rank lower than him have a higher chance of being a star. Maybe like Davion Mitchell or someone else, I don't know. And I also think he has decent bust potential due to the fact that he's a really skinny guard who is really talented on the defensive side of the floor, but he can't really shoot. And I think the Magic would be pretty dumb to take him for the 5th pick in this draft, because Orlando needs a guy who can at least be an all-star, and at this current moment, I don't see Keon Johnson being that. Respectfully, I love his game, but just no. But to conclude the video, if I had to predict who the Magic would select, I think they will select Jonathan Kuminga. I think unless Jalen Green or Evan Mobley fall down to the 5th pick, they're definitely going to take Kuminga, and I think they'll take him even over Jalen Suggs, because I feel like Orlando wants a guy who could potentially be an all-star level player, and I feel like Kuminga has a higher potential than Jalen Suggs, whereas Jalen Suggs has a higher floor. But I definitely think they'll choose Kuminga or Jalen Suggs. I don't see any reason to why they would choose anyone besides those two, and regardless, it's more likely that Jalen Suggs won't even be available by then, but there is a decent chance that he will be. So if Kuminga is available, I think they will take him, and if he's not, then they'll take Jalen Suggs. Anyways guys, that's it for the video. Let me know who you think the Magic should draft. Drop a like on this video to help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel for daily NBA content and towards my goal of 1,500 subscribers. Comments will start conversation as I do respond to all of my comments. And I'm out.